think not just that Bob Quinn was taking their word for it, but the respect that they have for him and the way they played late in the season. Look, a lot of times GMs come in, they want their own guy. I wouldn't have faulted Bob Quinn if he wanted to do that, especially with the way things played out this year. But I understand why when he sat back and looked at their best opportunity to win right now is to keep Jim Caldwell. I do think 2016 is going to be a really big year, though, because if Caldwell wins, you're going to have to give him an extension. He's only got 2 years left on his contract. You don't want him being a lame duck after the season. If not, you're making a change, and then you're starting all over again.
I like the fact that he made the decision very quickly.
Okay.
And that was one of the things that if you're a coach and if you're a team, you don't want to be in limbo. Making that decision very quickly, I think, also speaks a lot to the fact that he knew he wanted to keep him. After he came in, he saw the work that he's done, not just this past season, but the year before. It allowed him to say, I have enough information to know that we can win with Jim Caldwell, that players like him, and that's a big piece. I think people underestimate the importance of having your team want the head coach, not be in controversy in all time and be at odds with your coaching staff. And the Lions have always been backing him. They've always been in his court. So I think this is a good move for this team.
Just to one point on that, you're right, Herman, and you know it better than anybody having played. As I look around the NFL, the best coaches, the head coaches, are guys that can motivate men, a group of 53 men to play for them. A lot of what you're doing X's and O's wise is falling on the coordinators, and I think he has two pretty good coordinators in place, but there's no doubt that Jim Caldwell has the respect of that locker.
That's my next question, and my next point is Terrell Austin obviously was interviewing for head coaching opportunities, didn't get any of those opportunities this time around, but Bob Cooter comes in and if, for lack of a better term, transforms the offense into what we all kind of thought it could potentially be. How much of keeping Jim Caldwell is tied to, hey, these coordinators are both pretty good and we want to keep them in place? So kind of that package deal. How much input, I guess, is my question, does a head coach have on the coordinators and actually what you do on the football field?
Well, there's a lot. I mean, those are his guys, and he sets the tempo. He dictates what he wants his program to look like. And I'm sure on some level that played into the decision to keep him. I mean, you look at the staff, it's a total evaluation, and you say, we can win with these guys. But ultimately, this decision was about Jim Caldwell and the Lions and Bob Quinn's belief, at least for right now, that Jim Caldwell was the best person to lead this team into 2016.
Who did you take more direction from, your coordinator or your head coach?
Well, this is an interesting piece because the head coach is the guy who assembles all these guys. He's the one that's ruling from the top down. But you're ultimately dealing with your position coach and then your coordinators. The position coaches, you're spending a lot of time with them evaluating film. You're spending a lot of time with them on technique and understanding what's supposed to happen on a play at any specific or given time. Then you look at the team side of it. That's when you're with your coordinator. That's when you sit in the team film and you're looking at it with your offensive linemen, your running backs, and all those components of the offense. But then it's the head coach that then gets into it with his coordinators. He says, okay, what are we working with? And he meets with his coach. So the head coach is important, but you're going to spend most of your time between your position coach and your coordinator more so than you will with your head coach.
And we don't know if all those position coaches are coming back yet. There's still a possibility that some of those guys could have opportunities elsewhere.
Okay. So still some shuffling in the
It
front office.
won't be major, but a guy like Chris Kasurek, I know he's in demand. Miami I don't know if they've made overtures, but there's been some talk about him possibly going there. So I just keep an eye that there still could be a little bit of staff shakeup ahead.
Yeah, it's never quiet. It's never quiet in the NFL. There's always ongoings, and we're going to be talking about draft grades for guys in probably, 30 seconds, because that's how quickly things move here, it seems, in the NFL offseason. But it's not quite there yet. We got some great playoff football. I mean, I don't know how they did it. Aaron Rodgers, across his body, off his back foot, 60 yards for the second Hail Mary of the year. I mean, I think I tweeted out, the team of destiny just got team of destinied by the team of destiny last night in that game. Cardinals beating the Packers.
I saw that, and I had to go back and read it about 4 times.
It makes no sense, but that's what he just did. I mean, I like to see the Cardinals move on. I think that's one of the best teams in football this year. And in today's matchups, who do you guys like today?
I'm going to go with Carolina. I am. I think that it's something that has happened to that team in the absence of what we thought at the beginning of the season, that this was a team that with injuries and it was just going to be too many question marks. And I was still a little skeptical about Cam Newton's ability to lead that team. But I'll tell you what, he has completely become a leader for that team, not only just an offensive leader, but a team leader. And that goes a long way for him. And the way this team has just really gone on. I think Seattle's a tough team, very balanced. Offense is much better than I thought, but yeah.
Well, everything he said, I echo that. I mean, Carolina will be my pick in the NFC game today. I like Cam Newton. I like what he's done this year. That defense. I'm leaning Pittsburgh in the AFC game, though. I think they have so many injuries that I'm not quite as sold on that outcome. But Roethlisberger, the way that he's been playing, even with Antonio Brown out, they still have some weapons. So I'll take the Steelers in that game.
I'm worried about his injury and his throwing arm. We've seen what can happen if your throwing shoulder gets hurt.
Only thing is they're not going to have to score a lot of points because the Broncos don't. So
Right, their offense struggles.
Well, and it's Peyton Newton's potentially swan song here. So he's going to get the start over Brock Osweiler and Peyton Newton. That's what I just said.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
I caught you.
You know what I mean?
We're with you.
Peyton Manning's swan song. Anyways,
we understand.
I'll get it all figured out in the break. But during the break, I want you to hop on Twitter right now. Use the hashtag 7SportsCave. Talk Lions. Talk Bob Quinn. Talk about keeping Jim Caldwell. You like that or no? We'll have that coming up in a couple of segments. But coming up next, Ben Wallace last night had the Palace rocking like it was 2004. We'll go back and relive and talk to the man whose jersey is now hanging from the rafters. That's coming up next in the Suburban Ford 7 Sports Game.